Hello, and thank you for joining us on Classic Vinyl Podcast. This is the podcast where we listen to and review songs and albums from the classic vinyl era of the 60s and 70s. I am one of your hosts, Justin, and like always, I am joined in the basement studio by my co-host, called Tyler.
This is a thing I've never known before.
Really?
It's called Easy Livin'.
And you've never known Easy Livin'?
No, it's always been a hard knock life for me.
I get it. So this song we're doing today is by Uriah Heep. It's called Easy Livin'. This was suggested to us by Tony from Durango, Colorado, which I've been to Durango. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been there?
I haven't, but I like Durango. It's a great name.
I agree. So why don't we get into a little history about the band Uriah Heep first. They were formed in London, England in 1969. They evolved from a band that was called Spice that actually formed in 1967. The founding members are Mick Box on guitar, David Byron on vocals, and those guys were both from the band Spice. That's where they originated from, but they were soon joined by Ken Hensley, who was on keyboards and guitar, Paul Newton on bass, and Alex Knapler on drums, who was actually quickly replaced by Nigel Olsson, and that's Olsson with two S's, just in case you were wondering. Is that like German or something?
I think it's Norwegian or Swedish. It's somewhere up in Scandinavia.
Okay, fair enough. And then Keith Baker before Lee Kerslake became kind of the classic era of the band, their drummer at that time. So this band, basically, like I said, formed in 1969. They're still active to this day. They formed when guitarist Mick Box and vocalist David Byron's band Spice added multi-instrumentalist Ken Hensley and changed musical directions towards kind of a heavier progressive hard rock. And they adopted the name from a Charles Dickens character in David Copperfield.
Really?
Uriah Heep. And I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. That's interesting.
Yeah. So they signed their first major recording contract in 1969 in the UK with Vertigo Records, and shortly after that in the US with Mercury Records. Now, they've actually, I think they're another one of those bands we always talk about that get forgotten. I'm guessing that you've probably never heard of Uriah Heep.
The name, no. This song I've heard, but I did not know Uriah Heep.
Okay, so they do have estimated worldwide sales of about 40 million albums, which is pretty strong, really, for a band that I don't think is a household name by any means nowadays.
Yeah, so you guys have heard Uriah Heep. You just didn't know it was called Uriah Heep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so this band, kind of like some of the other bands, they were ranked below the big giants, the big rock bands of the 70s, kind of like Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, those kind of bands. This was kind of a, I guess in a way, a second-tier band to those.
An opener for them.
So they've released a total of 25 studio albums, 1 EP, 20 live albums, 30 compilation albums, a ton of box sets, and over 60 singles. And, of course, that's across the whole world what they've done with singles. Mm-hmm. Now, in the U.S. charting, they had 9 albums in the Billboard Top 100, 3 in the Top 40. They had no Top 10 albums. Now, they had their top 3 charting albums were Demon and Wizards, which this song today is off of. It reached number 23. The Magician's Birthday reached number 31, and Sweet Freedom reached number 33. Now, in the UK, they had 15 albums reach the top 100, 3 in the top 40, and there they also had none in the top 10. Their 3 top charting albums in the UK are Demons and Wizards at number 20, The Magician's Birthday at number 28, and Return to Fantasy, which hit number 11. Now, in Canada, 8 albums in the top 100, 4 in the top 40. They did have an album in the top 10 there. Demons and Wizards, once again, hit number 9. The Magician's Birthday, number 27, and Sweet Freedom, number 26. Now, their strongest worldwide performance occurred in Germany, Scandinavia, Japan, parts of Eastern Europe, places like that. Several albums over there reached top 10, and they were big over there during the 70s. So as far as singles are concerned, in the U.S., they had 2 singles only in the top 100, 1 in the top 40, nothing in the top 10. The song we're doing today was their top charting at number 39, and another fairly popular song of theirs called Stealin' reached number 91. So in the UK singles charts, they had 12 in the top 100, 2 in the top 40, and 1 in the top 10. Return to Fantasy was their one song in the top 10, reaching number 7. Easy Livin' hit number 75. So in Canada singles charts, 3 in the top 100, 2 in the top 40, 1 song in the top 10. That song in the top 10 was This We're Doing Today, was Easy Livin' at number 6. Stealin' hit number 61. They did have quite a bit of success in Germany for some reason. They had a song called Lady in Black, which became basically their biggest hit outside of, North America, hitting number 1 in the mid-70s. So they did well with that. This is a band that's not inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they are still touring actively as of 2026. Now, there are quite a few deceased members of this band. David Byron died in 1985, Gary Thane in 1975, Trevor Bolder in 2013, Lee Kerslake in 2020, Ken Hensley in 2020, and John Wetton in 2017. So I'm not quite sure who's left, but not a ton left apparently. But they are definitely one of the pioneers of this hard rock music in the early 70s. I mean, very heavily organ driven, really reminiscent to me of what you hear with some of Deep Purple and things like that. But they were definitely pioneers of the heavy metal. They were really influential on the European metal scenes, and I think they helped move a lot of that along. So Ken Hensley had kind of a brief solo career. So John Wetton later joined the band Asia and King Crimson.
And Asia, their big hit was In the Heat of the Moment, right?
Heat of the Moment.
Yeah, Heat of the Moment.
Yeah. Trevor Bolder was a longtime member of Wishbone Ash. Lee Kerslake also played a little bit with Ozzy Osbourne. So that's kind of giving you a little rundown of Uriah Heep. Do you want to get to the song Easy Livin'?
Yes, I do. I've got opinions on this one.
And now it's time for the song review.
So, Tyler, you said you had heard this song before, but what is your history with Easy Livin' before this week?
I just thought it was a really good rock song. I didn't really listen to it actively, but it's got a really good rhythm, good working music,
So, obviously, like you said before, you didn't realize this was a band named Uriah Heep. You just recognized the song.
I'm not a well-read as far as Dickens goes. I've read A Christmas Carol, but I tried A Tale of Two Cities and made it halfway through the first page when I realized, I don't like Dickens.
I've listened to Uriah Heep for quite a few years. I wouldn't say they're my favorite band, but...
So have you read the book David Copperfield?
I have not. I like you, don't even like Dickens.
Oh, A Christmas Carol?
A Christmas Carol. Yeah, it bothers me. I can't really say why, it just does.
That's fair. But yeah, I guess Uriah Heep's the name of a character from David Copperfield, and so I'm sure there's a lot of British kids out there that grew up reading Oliver Twist and all these other ones like Great Expectations and whatnot.
Yeah, and know exactly what it is and where it comes from, but that's something, I've known Uriah Heep for years and years and never knew that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So let's get to a little history on the song Easy Livin'. It was released on July 15th of 1972 in the UK on Bronze Records and released on August 14th of 1972 in the U.S. on Mercury Records. And I always wonder, when we get to these songs, why they release them so far apart. And maybe I'm just living in the digital world now where everything's so easy, but you would have thought they could have, we're going to advance mail you these and we're going to release them the same day. I don't know why they always had to be so far apart.
Do you think they do some sort of like testing run in the UK and then what's successful over there they ship over to the United States?
They may have, but how many songs or albums or artists do we find that are super successful one place and not the other? So I don't know if the test really means shit one way or the other, right?
Exactly. It's really subjective.
Yeah, so the B-side in the UK was a song called Gypsy, and the B-side in the US was a song called Look at Yourself. That's the other thing that's kind of strange is a lot of times when you see those singles released, they'll put different B-sides on them, and I don't know why, but I guess just maybe it was more, the label's decision on what to release as a B-side and when to release it in correspondence with other releases they had at the time. I don't know. So this song is from the album's Demons and Wizards. The album itself reached number 23 on the U.S. Billboard charts. I think it's by far their most popular album and their most popular song. It reached number 20 in the UK and did hit the top 10 in Canada at number 9. Now, the album itself has sold over 3 million copies worldwide. It is certified gold by the RIAA here in the U.S. The album is also known for The Wizard and The Circle of Hands, and it's considered one of the band's, basically their defining release of the classic lineup of this band. So this song was written by Ken Hensley, and the lead vocals are David Byron. So as this song is played, you've of course got David Byron on vocals, Mick Box on guitar, Ken Hensley on keyboards, backing vocals, Gary Thane on bass, and Lee Kerslake on drums. It was recorded in early 1972 at Lansdowne Studios in London and produced by Jerry Braun. Now, Jerry Braun has worked extensively with this band, Uriah Heep, but he's managed and produced a ton of other bands and worked with a ton of artists, primarily heavy rock artists through the mid-70s. And this song, the one thing that I said where it kind of reminds me of some of the Deep Purple stuff is that driving Hammond organ through this whole thing by Ken Hensley. It's pretty cool, really. It reminds me of a lot of the stuff on Machine Head from Deep Purple and some of the stuff on In Rock. I don't know if that's something they took from them or maybe Deep Purple took from these guys. I don't know. I mean, Deep Purple obviously had much more commercial success than these guys, but pretty interesting. It's a rock song. It's a short little number. It kicks right out, and it kind of keeps that same pace, and it's got a steady beat to it. I think the song runs a little over 2.5 minutes long.
I'm surprised. It feels longer than that.
And see, it seems shorter to me than that. But so the song itself expresses exuberance and joy. I mean, it really is. It as hard a rocking song as it is. It's kind of got the lyrics talk about romantic fulfillment and personal contentment. It really is kind of an optimistic song, the way it drives home. You know, it doesn't seem like a standard heavy metal song, really. But this song obviously became the band's most commercially successful single, and it still is to this day a staple on classic rock radio. I hear it on, my playlists all the time, which are usually on Spotify while I'm working, but I hear it on Sirius XM radio all the time as well. I think this song is the one that people really perceive as the band's sound, and it's definitely kind of a progressive sound of heavy metal. It's a little bit different some of those other bands, but it's really interesting. But the song itself did reach number 39 on the Billboard charts here in the US, 75 in the UK, and it did reach the top 10 in Canada. The Canadians liked it. It reached number 6 up there. There are a bunch of different versions of this out there, but they've got a ton of live albums. So this one, obviously, there's a ton of live versions of this, and it's available on a bunch of their compilations and things like that. The live versions are kind of interesting if you like this song because they're kind of extended jams. You hear a lot of that stuff going on, audience interaction and things like that. I couldn't find any demos on this, so any older versions of it like that. And this is a song that, as well as it's kind of known today on hard rock radio, it hasn't appeared on Rolling Stone's top 500 ever, voted in by the fans. So it's just kind of an interesting song. But Tyler, after kind of listening to this for the first time with the purpose of sitting down and reviewing it and learning it's Uriah Heep, what are your thoughts on Easy Livin'?
This song surprised me. I knew it a little bit, but because it's got that strong driving organ in it, but it's also really heavy guitar. This is real hard rock. It's not quite what I'd call heavy metal yet, but this is definitely hard rock.
It's definitely the seeds of heavy metal, just like what you had going on with Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. I wouldn't say Grand Funk Railroad. They were a huge band in the 70s, but they're more blues rock. But I think with Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and Uriah Heep, and there's a few other bands from the time too that really kind of started that heavy metal.
Yeah. So as this song goes, I don't get the romantic part of it. Although, that's kind of an easy one to say, oh, well, this is a love song. This is a guy singing about being in love with a woman. But I don't think people often use the term, oh, since you took your place in my heart, I feel like I've been forgiven. That sounds religious. That sounds like this guy has found a redeemer. I think this song is a born again, perhaps even a Christian anthem or hymn, I should say.
And see, I think they just used forgiven
Mm-hmm.
so it would rhyme with living.
Probably. I think you're right because this is super hard rock. These guys would not be played on most of the Christian rock stations just because it's too heavy. It's really good and it's amazing. And I think these guys give Ozzy Osbourne a run for his money as being a reverend of the people. He's a minister, and these guys are a minister too, because I think they're preaching about being born again.
You're making me dislike this song.
I know. I'm trying real hard. But this song, I mean, I can't get past that. And I think that's really awesome because I don't really talk, and maybe this is just kind of the circles I've run in. I've never really met somebody who, when describing the way that they feel about a girl or a new romantic partner, they feel forgiven. They don't really use that term.
Well, but you can think, I think it was just a line put in there to rhyme, but you could also think that maybe he's wronged some women in his past and now he feels like, okay, I found the right one. So I feel like, so it can almost be a spiritual love song in a way. You know, I feel like whoever my creator is forgiven me and given me a second chance at love.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the past relationships they had were difficult relationships. They required him to be outside of his normal character, but he's found somebody that he really clicks with.
You know, I really hate getting into these lyrical discussions with you because you dive so deep into it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's got a good driving guitar and I like the sound of the song and you're pulling me into church.
I know. And this isn't even like my whole afternoon, sir. This is like a Tuesday for me.
Exactly. That's the problem.
Exactly. Okay. So it does open up with this guitar strumming and the organ jumps right in, that Hammond organ with that driving beat and rhythm that just keeps it going. It sounds like an engine that's just running at the optimum RPMs on a nice long road trip, and everything's just firing exactly right. It sounds so good. It feels amazing, and the band's amazing. It's a great band. They play it all so well. I really like this song, and I had a great time with it. So those are my thoughts about this song. It feels great, and I'm so glad I got a chance to review it. So thanks, Tony. By the way, Tony's a great name along with Durango. So yeah, I want to throw that in there too. What are your thoughts, Justin?
Well, I've always liked this song until you started talking about it.
Start preaching it.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad song. I'm not a huge Uriah Heep fan. I've listened to a few of their albums and they're just kind of so-so for me. I get where people say they were, you know, kind of when I was going through the band history and stuff, a lot of people say they're kind of the beginning, one of the bands that started the heavy rock. And I see that, but when I say they're a tier below those bands like Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin, my honest opinion is they're more than just a tier below those. And doesn't mean I don't respect them, but it's just kind of, when I've listened to their albums, they kind of leave me a little flat. It's like they're heavy, but they're not heavy enough. It's like they're not getting to where they're trying to be. That's kind of the feeling I get from them. But this song obviously is probably their most, not probably, this is their most popular song. And like you said, it goes straight into the guitar and the Hammond organ. And I like that kind of deep purplish feel. I don't feel like the vocal is as good as what you get with Deep Purple. It feels like it's like doubled or tripled over and it's kind of mixed in there. I feel like the guitar, as heavy as it is, the organ's cool, but I don't hear the guitar very much in this. I think the organ's almost overpowering that.
Yeah, they're very well matched, except for the organ's a little bit more forward than the guitar, so it drowns it a little.
And it kind of drowns out the bass, and it kind of drowns out the drums in this song as well. You get some drums and things at the end, but it's kind of weird. And although this kind of has that pace to the song, there's not a lot of difference between the choruses and the verses and things. There's a little break in it, but
there's that instrumental interlude.
Just bear for a second. Yeah.
And Miss Baumgartner from the First United Methodist Church is just rocking out. This is about as hard as Mrs. Baumgartner's ever jammed.
Yeah. So I mean, I like the song, but I'm not going to put it up there with my favorite songs. It's not one I'm going to skip when it comes on, but it's not one I actively seek out by any means either. It's just a decent song, but I think it's pretty, in my opinion, and I'm sorry, Tony, but I think it's lower tier compared to some of those other songs that came from those other bands I talked about. So do you want to get to rating the song?
Yeah, let's rate it.
Song rating.
Okay, listener, if this is your first episode, I will briefly explain our rating scale. It's 0 to 10, 10 being the best. I put this one up there as an 8.5. This song really rocks. I really like this song, and I think it, if nothing else, it belongs on a playlist for your road trips. That's where I put it. Where do you put it, Justin?
Well, we know what host is going to be Tony's favorite because, well, unless Tony wanted us to talk about this song because he disliked it. But
unless Tony's an atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I rate this song a 6.5, and that's probably about the best I can get it. Like I said, I like the song, but it's not my favorite by any means. But a decent song. There are some Uriah Heep songs that I actually enjoy much better than this one.
You know, my wife was asking me the other day. She's like, "Have you ever like rated a song higher than Justin?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, all the time. We find that like there's songs that I really jive with that Justin doesn't like, and this is one of them, I guess."
Yeah, and I wouldn't say I don't like it. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, if I disliked it, it would be sub 5, but it's a decent song.
It is strange for me to be a full 2 points above you without this song being something weird and unusual.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
And now after you talking through it, I think it might be a little weird and unusual.
Well, in my head, I guess the way you play it out.
So that's Uriah Heep and Easy Livin'. We appreciate your suggestion, Tony. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, would like to let us know what you would rate this song, what you think of our ratings, or have a song or album you'd like us to rate, send those to classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to us. So until next time, see you later.
See ya.